Our Land Rover Performance Spotlight puts the spotlight in the National League batting race. And these guys going head-to-head this weekend. Charlie Blackmon, pretty healthy lead entering the final 3 games of the season after a 3-hit day on Wednesday. Justin Turner right behind him, though, hitting .321 here in the first year of that new contract. You were talking about it earlier this week, but you said if you had been pitching in a situation like this, you would take it personally on your guy's behalf.
Not only personally on my guy's behalf, but then coaching up the whole staff on how we're going to get Blackmon out. Make it personal for everybody and make it feel bad if you give that gentleman a hit. And he has been so good this year, that is going to be a very tough chore for the Dodgers staff. But if they can shut him down, they've got a really good chance of going into the postseason with some momentum.
Rockies just hoping to go to the postseason, period. And it had started to look a little bit problematic a few days ago, but they've got things together again. After dropping 7 of 10, they've won 3 of 4. The magic number to clinch the second wild card spot is at 2. Milwaukee, the only team that could keep them from heading to Arizona next Wednesday. And Bud Black's first year as the manager. And here comes Chad Bettis, just about set to get this one started. And it feels a little bit like October's approaching, with the temperature in the 60s today and getting colder as the sun drops, as it tends to do. Dave Roberts and the Dodgers have won 6 of 7, seemingly getting things back on track after that rough beginning to the month of September. And here's his lineup for this series opener, with Curtis Granderson set to lead it off. Chris Taylor getting the night off. The knee's fine, but getting him one more night off with a couple of more tune-ups left before the postseason. Seager, Turner, and Bellinger 2, 3, and 4. Puig's in right, hitting 5th. Then it's Andre Ethier starting in left field. Yasmani Grandal does the catching. Logan Forsythe at second base. He's started to heat up lately too. Chad Bettis was diagnosed last winter with testicular cancer and had surgery. They figured that the cancer was gone, but it came back this spring, and so underwent 9 weeks of chemotherapy. And soon after the treatments were finished, he got to work getting the arm in shape, and a month later was on a big league mound. Tonight makes his 9th start.
It's been a little bit of a rocky comeback, but he has thrown well against the Dodgers. A couple other outings where they've seen signs of his old self. His last outing, he was touching 93 miles an hour, but the average fastball in the comeback this year has been around 90. And at that level, with a changeup and a curveball as your Beck's secondary pitches, the speed differential has not been there. Both lefties and righties hitting about 20 points higher this year than his career average.
And facing a Dodger offense that is as hot as it's been in a long time. At least 9 runs in 3 consecutive games against San Diego. It's the first time in 4 years the Dodger offense has had a 3-game stretch like that. So Granderson climbs in. Bettis through his wind. Then off we go with a fastball that misses away, 1-0. Closed captioning tonight brought to you by Wiener Schnitzel. That's ball 2. Well, Bettis 1-4 this season, but his only win came against the Dodgers back in early September. Wasn't particularly good in that game. Gave up 4 runs over 5 innings, but the Rockies won at 6-5. Two balls, 2 strikes.
Curtis Granderson has hit all over this Dodger lineup. If they continue to put pieces in and out because of health, being conservative tonight with Chris Taylor, so he's taking his spot.
It's a soft bounce at a first that Mark Reynolds takes to the bag for the first out. How about our Honda keys to the game tonight, Orl?
Well, for sure, it's got to be about health. Taylor taking a night off, but it's nice to know that he could play if he needed to. Ryu handle the Rockies because he's pitching for a spot on the playoff roster, and anybody who comes in out of the bullpen in this whole series, but especially tonight, not much time to recover your good feelings if you have a bad outing.
There's Corey Seager homering on back-to-back nights to finish off the homestand. And taking ball one from Bettis. We talked about it all week, all homestand, but the Dodgers need Corey Seager to beat Corey Seager, the guy that struggled so much over the first few weeks this month.
This time of year, everyone is dealing with aches and pains, and you're in there even if you're slightly hurt. And when the temperatures start to drop, those feelings start to come to the surface, the ones that go away with warm weather.
Back-to-back soft grounders, and when Bettis is right, this is what he does. He's induced a couple of ground outs, 2 up, 2 down. On a scoreless first inning, here comes Justin Turner. And for Turner, not a bad guy to try and boost that average against. He tries to track down the batting title in the final weekend. He is 7 for 12 against Chad Bettis.
And of late, with the thumb healing, the swing starting to come around, he's looking like he is the Justin Turner that we saw in the first half, and that is really good news for the Dodgers.
And there are a couple guys, Turner and Seager in particular, who haven't looked like themselves lately. It's been so encouraging to see them coming around. And then guys like Grandal and Forsythe, who had gone long stretches without producing, who also appear to be coming around at the right time.
Hence the last 3 games and the run production.
Sure.
The whole lineup. It's good to see Logan smiling, feeling good about his game.
He'll hit 8 tonight. Here comes Bettis with a 2-1. And Turner cracks a fly ball to right. Gonzalez back with room. The Dodgers down an order in the first. Hyun-Jin Ryu takes the mound for his final outing of the regular season in a scoreless game after this. Sending this lineup up there in this series opener, and they could by the end of the weekend. The top 2 spots in this order have the last 2 batting champs in the NL. Mayhew won it last year. Blackman on the verge of winning it this year. Arenado bats third. Then in the middle, Story, Reynolds, Gonzalez. Ian Desmond is in left, and Jonathan Lucroy catches Chad Bettis. Hyun-Jin Ryu goes for the Dodgers in this one, looking for his first win in more than a month, and it seemed like he might be on his way to that on Saturday before he got hit in the arm by the line drive, but the x-ray's negative, and here he is again.
There's first impressions and then there's last impressions, and for Ryu, he wants to leave a good last impression right here and try and make that playoff roster. Has struggled at times against these Rockies.
His first one to Blackman. Strike 1.
Charlie Blackmon, Carlos Gonzalez, the only two lefties in the lineup against Ryu.
You mentioned him struggling against Colorado. Last time he pitched here was on May 11th, and he allowed a career-high 10 runs over 4 innings. Granted, only half of those were earned, but still the total runs allowed, the worst in his major league career.
If you're going to shut down this Rockies offense, it begins right here with this man. And for you, throughout the year, left-handers have struggled with his off-speed stuff. The league, the lefties in the league have only hit 158.
Charlie Blackmon leading off. And shaking one that Turner gets on a backhand and throws to first to get him. Isn't that something? The guy that he's chasing in the batting title race tests him the first time he puts one in play, and Turner throws him out.
Well, the batting title guys are both 0 for 1 because of this exceptional play by Justin Turner. The backhand was easy. The throw was spectacular. Get rid of it quick, and it ends up accurate. And a little help from your friend over there, Cody Bellinger, showing off his hands on the first base side.
So one away, and here's DJ LeMahieu. Outside ball one. You think it's going through Turner's mind at all as he makes that play, who that is that he's getting?
Before and after.
Okay. One and one. So Blackmon leading the National League overall. LeMahieu leading the National League since early June. 337 over the last few months. On this 1-1 pitch, he hits it foul. Strike two. Bud Black's Rockies, who had the best record in the National League in late June. They were 47-26, but have gone 39-47 since, and it's gotten a lot more dramatic than it looked like it was going to be for his team. They're not complaining, though. An organization that over the last 6 years has the worst record in the National League. They finished at least 16 games out each of those last 6 seasons. Black's first year on the verge of heading to the postseason. Ryu's 2-2. Full count. And they've got the MVP candidate Nolan Arenado hitting third.
Some people around here in Colorado think that Charlie Blackmon is more the MVP than Arenado. Around the National League, talking to writers, people think it's more Arenado than Blackmon. If Blackmon doesn't have his year, Arenado can't drive anybody in. And they would consider center field a little bit more of a premium position to play, but they both play their positions at a very high level. And I would have to give Arenado a click above Charlie that way.
Click above everybody that way.
Yeah.
Here's another payoff pitch and another foul ball. The thing that may work against them is that they could cancel each other out potentially. Whereas Paul Goldschmidt in Arizona doesn't necessarily have anybody that he's competing against on his own roster. Neither does Giancarlo Stanton.
Joey Votto might get some votes.
Yeah.
There could be a split decision on the teams that are winning their divisions, and then all of a sudden you might see a non-winning candidate go to the top.
Turner with back-to-back plays, 2 out.
Ryu doing a nice job here against the top of the order. The top 3 hitters of the Rockies are in the top 10 batting averages against lefties. So this is a tough 3 guys to go through for Ryu.
And Arenado's been tough regardless of who's been on the mound for the Dodgers this year. 6 of those 36 home runs have come against LA. For the LA native, who of course, if you follow the Dodgers, probably know, grew up rooting for the Dodgers and dreaming of one day playing for the Dodgers. Lake Forest, California native, looks at ball 1 to El Toro High School. Well, he's never worn a Dodger uniform. He did play at Dodger Stadium when he was in high school. Won a sectional championship there. And they got his first 3 hits in the majors there, including his first home run. 2 balls, no strikes.
We've got that catchphrase of must-watch TV with certain players like Yasiel Puig and others. Nolan Arenado is one of those guys in the league. Do not leave your seat.
Nicely placed, 2-1.
A little harder to stay in your seat when he's on defense all the time, and you've got to watch that part because that is the part that you don't want to miss either.
Is that when you tend to take your bathroom breaks, kitchen breaks?
Yeah, make my
when your
sandwich
team's on defense. 2-2.
I can't do that when I'm a fan of pitching.
That's what I was kind of thinking.
Yeah. I'm just going to have to do it in a hurry, or if I'm with Dana, she's very good at making a nice sandwich, and sometimes she'll do that for me.
That's kind of her. Ryu looking for a 1-2-3 first inning. Shaking off the first few from Grandal, and they'll start over. They just can't seem to get on the same page here.
He's running out of fingers back there. I would forget what I was putting down after a while. Just say, just throw it, I'll catch it.
A shattered bat roller foul.
The inside of the bat was exposed. I thought we had 2 balls there for a second. White going both ways.
None of it stayed fair. Third consecutive season, Nolan Arenado has led all of baseball in runs batted in. This year, that number's 129. On another 2-2, he reaches out and stays alive. He's still only 26 years old. All-star a couple of times already. His 5th major league season. One of the great players in baseball. A 2-2. It's high, and he's worked it full.
Tempted, but didn't go fishing. A little bit of a hole there, high and away. But then that also sets up the soft stuff coming out of that same window. If it's going to be a curveball or that slider they attempted when he fouled it off and shattered his bat.
Pummels this one to deep center field. Granderson back at the wall. It's gone. For the 7th time this year, Nolan Arenado has taken the Dodgers deep.
Take a look at the Volkswagen replay, and this is a majestic home run to center field. A battle through and through between Ryu and Arenado. Arenado ends up winning it. Just clearing as the temperatures drop here in Colorado. The ball doesn't carry quite as well, even though we're at Mile High.
So now Trevor Story looking at strike one. For Hyun-Jin Ryu, home runs had been an issue through the middle part of the summer, but that's the first one that he's allowed this month. Story yanks a base hit to left.
A little breaking ball on outie pitch cast. Let's see where it lands. Low and away, a little bit of extension. Had him out in front, but just not enough. Good swing to be able to elevate that to left field.
So after a pair of groundouts to start the inning, home run Arenado, single Story, and here's Mark Reynolds out of the 5 spot. Reynolds got off to a great start this year. Through a few months, it was the best offensive season of his career. Wasn't just hitting for power, but he was hitting for a high average, a high on-base percentage. The thing with Reynolds is that he's always been a high homer guy, but there have been way too many strikeouts for him to be a top-end hitter. Looks at a strike here, and it's 1-1. And he's come back down to earth some since the All-Star break.
The overall picture is the Rockies got an awful lot out of this signing. Signed late out of a big need because of the Ian Desmond injury. Thought he would just be a fill-in player until health returned to the roster, but his production has kept him in there all year. Now a chance to play in the playoffs.
Force Ian Desmond to play elsewhere.
Right.
One of the starting outfielders. And Reynolds had a pretty nice offer to go play in Korea. We're going to pay him a lot of money to play over there, but he said 3 young boys at home and wasn't about to drag them across the globe if there was a chance to stay around. And the Rockies gave him that chance with a 1-year contract. It's the 5th consecutive year that Mark Reynolds has signed a 1-year deal.
In some ways that's good because it keeps you concentrating and locked in, kind of almost trying to earn your money for the next year. In other ways, you got to deal with the lack of security.
A payoff, and he shoots a high drive to right center. That thing is way gone. '30th for Reynolds.
And 97 RBIs now, and he was in a little bit of a slump when the Rockies over a 9-game period only scored 25 runs. It was his bat. It was one of them that went silent, but now using right field again. That's what got him hot in the first half, remembering that that part of the field exists.
And now Carlos Gonzalez taking ball 1. Nobody's been hotter than Carlos Gonzalez when it comes to these Rockies. 373 in September. And only J.D. Martinez of the Diamondbacks is a higher slugging in September. And what could be the final month that he wears the Rockies uniform. So final year of his deal.
Be interesting to see where he ends up. I do not think it'll be in a Rockies uniform. The tough thing for Carlos is his home road splits are not very good.
That one's playable in center for Granderson, and the side is retired. For the Rockies tee off on Ryu in the first. Arenado a home run, Reynolds a home run, and after 1 it's 3-0. Up here in the second inning, and Cody Bellinger to lead it off, sitting on 39 home runs, which is the most ever by a National League rookie. And gunning for 40 over the weekend here. Also searching for 100 RBIs. Comes in with 96, so a decent opportunity that he can reach both those marks. One ball and one strike against Chad Bettis. Bellinger hitless in the series against San Diego, but drove in the game's first run each of the last two games. One and two.
Little pause in the action. Jonathan LaCroix behind the plate. That last foul tip got a piece of him. Everybody giving him some extra time.
Bellinger fooled. He was guessing something else. Took strike three. First K for Bettis.
Change-up with good action. Thing wandered right across the plate. Started inside, ended up on the outer half.
Now it's Puig. It is 27th home run of the year on Wednesday night against San Diego. Of course, a new career high for him. Yeah, moving into the 5 spot more frequently lately hasn't impacted him negatively at all. Of course, there was some worry that, not internally, but around the fan base, that moving him out of the 8th spot could cause an issue. He's continued to produce.
I, for one, was very interested to see if the more pressure spot or perceived pressure spot, because in key situations, even when he was in the 8th spot, it seemed like he went into a different mode. Something with a little more energy, kind of more free swinger. Taking the issue to the pitcher without getting a strike, and then being more susceptible to that breaking ball away, especially right on right situations, the slider. From lefties, the changeup. But he has kept the same philosophy and mood and approach no matter where he's hit now. Really trusting the process like the whole Dodger team.
Digs out a low breaking pitch, and at third, Arenado. 2 out. So Chad Bettis has retired the first 5. And the man that he faces next, Andre Ethier, is the only one in this Dodger lineup that has homered against him previously. That came in that start on September 9th back at Dodger Stadium. One of the 2 that Ethier's hit since he was activated at the beginning of the month. Very likely that Andre Ethier will make that postseason roster. A similar scenario as last year, where he didn't play until September. Did enough to prove that he belonged. And they hope that he contributes in the same way he did last year when he homered.
You know, we've seen Clayton Kershaw go on the DL and come back and be at a very elite level right away. I'm as impressed with Andre Ethier being out for so long, 5 months in a season. All of a sudden, now you're back, and to have the kind of makeup to be able to just step right in and look like you've been playing all year.
That's the first base runner for the Dodgers. A 2-out walk here for Ethier. keeps the inning alive for Grandal, who has 3 home runs and has knocked in 7 over the last 8 games.
It's almost like there was a postseason alarm in his body.
Right.
And the alarm clock went off because he's starting to heat up. Enough is enough. Your own slump, and then having the number 2 catcher all of a sudden start to get more playing time and more pub. You do reach a rock bottom, and maybe that's the thing that can really launch Osmani into October. Here in our field mics, Dave Roberts warming his October voice up.
Yeah.
He's in on every pitch.
Grandal hits a base hit to left. So 2 on with 2 out. And up comes Logan Forsythe.
Rockies did it with 2 outs in the first. Arenado home run with 2 outs, then a base hit and another home run. Dodgers set the table now to put their own 3 spot up there.
With a guy that's been their hottest hitter lately. Forsythe hit .389 during the homestand, included a home run. Not been the kind of year that he envisioned when you're looking at the total package, but a lot of that'll be more easily forgotten if he produces when it counts most. He's trending in the right direction with that time coming. Two on, 2 out. First one rides over the inside corner for a strike. Bouncing ball, LeMahieu positioned well, shovels it off to Story, and the Dodgers finished in the second. Off and rolling here in Denver with Colorado in front 3-0. Presented by T-Mobile. Best records in baseball in the chase for home field advantage in the World Series. The Dodgers by 2 games leading Cleveland, and by 3 games leading Houston. Although Cleveland right now is up 10-1 on the White Sox in the 5th inning. When that thing goes final, the Indians will have won 32 of their last 35 games. Houston, meanwhile, up in Boston, has a 3-1 lead in the middle innings, which for them seems like an off night. Houston has scored 11 or more 4 consecutive games.
Those teams are picking on some younger pitchers. If they knock out the veteran starter trying to get their work, and all of a sudden the underbelly of the opposing team is a lot different than normal. You're trying to get your September call-up some exposure.
Strike one on Ian Desmond, leading off the second. Rockies hit 2 home runs against Ryu in the first inning. After he got the first 2 men to ground out, Arenado was solo homer, Reynolds a 2-run homer. Now Ian Desmond ahead 2-1.
Dodgers give up 3 in the first. Ryu does, and you think, oh, you don't want to go through your bullpen going into October. Well, you got 4 days off after this series. So everybody's going to want some work.
Ryu back home 3-1. Desmond hits it foul. I think the general thought around the Dodgers is that those 4 days be a good thing.
I think your outlook on those days are just as important of the work that you do. That you go into it thinking, you know, this is really good for us. Get completely healthy. Get on a roll with the chemistry of the team. Get some people some work. Dave Roberts has announced there'll be some simulated games where guys will be throwing at game speed to the regulars to keep them sharp as far as seeing a big league slider, seeing a big league changeup, seeing 95 miles an hour, not just batting practice pitching.
Here comes the 3-2. And a leadoff walk for Ian Desmond.
Have game times been announced?
No.
That's one thing that'll be important to the Dodgers because they'll want to get their body clocks on the schedule of those first 2 games and even maybe practice during that kind of lighting if you're going to have your simulated games.
Jonathan Lucroy comes up and we check in with Alana Rizzo.
More on the point that you were just making about getting the simulated games around the same time as game time. Dave Roberts and the staff trying to make sure their workout times next week are also in line with game times. They're going to work out right now at 2 p.m. on Wednesday afternoon, and Thursday it looks like it's going to be a 6 p.m. workout time. However, as you guys just mentioned, they haven't announced game times yet. The likely scenario is that Washington and Cubs are going to be more prime time, so Los Angeles and whomever they play are going to be the early game, so they're trying to figure out workout times accordingly.
Okay, Alana, yeah, and usually those game times don't officially come until you have the field locked in. At least, you know, the division winners locked in. Sometimes see the times released before the outcomes of the wild card games, but not always. It's a strike, 1-1 on Lucroy. Pop fly into short center. Granderson on the move makes the catch and throws back to first where Desmond had wandered dangerously far towards second. Desmond back in there safely. Curtis Granderson, who's playing only his second game in center for the Dodgers, makes a good play.
Playing a little deeper here in Colorado, but this ball hangs up, and Desmond really has to take a risk going in both directions because if the ball drops, he's got to get to second quickly. If it gets caught, he's got to get back to first. So he was about 50% of the way. But that's the way he had to play it.
Now, there are 2 elements to the high run totals in this ballpark. There's obviously the thin air and the home runs that come with it. But the other thing is how big the park is and the surface area that you've got to cover as outfielders. So a lot of hits fall in. So not only do you have high home run totals, but you have high batting averages as well because of the hits that you normally wouldn't get other places in a more traditional size.
And do you construct your roster with strong power hitting outfielders that can get the ball and launch it here? Or do you have a few that are fleet of foot that can cover all this expansive ground?
Bettis lays the bunt down. Bellinger hoping that it rolls foul, and it does. Calmly waiting for it to. Grab it in for strike two. Now, to answer your question, I know it was somewhat rhetorical, but right now Desmond in left runs pretty well, can cover some ground. Blackman in center, we know how well he runs. Right field, Carlos Gonzalez a little bit diminished, but he was at his best, could cover some ground. Parra, very good defensively when he's out there.
Yeah, it seems like they go for the combination of the guys that can hit but also cover the territory. Because you also have to take this team on the road.
Yeah.
And that's one of the biggest challenges of running a baseball team here at this altitude. The types of pitchers you look for. Usually don't look for guys with big curveballs, more sinker slider guys that can get the ball hit on the ground.
Bettis will try again with 2 strikes. Third time's the charm, advancing the runner into scoring position. Now, to your point about how hard it is to win on the road when you're constructing a roster to play here, only twice in franchise history have the Rockies had a winning record on the road. 2009 and then again this year. And both years they finished exactly 1 game over.
I reviewed for you earlier the top 3 hitters in this lineup and how well they hit off of left-handers. In the top 10, all 3 of them in batting average. So you really have to pick your poison according to how you're pitching to a guy and how the count goes.
Second time through the order. Here's Charlie Blackmon. Got robbed of a hit his first time, and a nice play by Justin Turner. Rockies trying to beat the Dodgers for a 5th consecutive game. Remember, they swept those 4 games from the Dodgers in early September. Prior to that, the Dodgers had won 5 of 6 against the Rockies. On this 1-1, Blackmon watches it miss away. 2 balls and a strike.
I think the Dodgers have some motivation coming into this series. The overall, you want to feel good going into October. Turning the corner against these Rockies on the short term in case they end up being your opponent. Winning 103, setting the LA record. And if you do it tonight, keep 105 in your sights.
Which is the all-time franchise record. 1953 Brooklyn Dodgers won 105.
Winning is a habit, and no sense, taking it easy and being perfectly low-key about these games, trying to stay healthy and don't really push it. And all of a sudden come up with some losses that you don't like and have a bitter taste in your mouth. Important for everybody, I think, to feel those good feelings going into October. But the complete narrative doesn't get written until you play those games in October.
Something the Rockies haven't done since 2009. High drive, forget about it. Charlie Blackmon, how far will it go? halfway up the second deck.
That's a really special piece of hitting. I know it's coming out of the wrong uniform, but watch him just pull his hands in and get the barrel out, kind of freed up the front side and kept it fair.
37 home runs out of the leadoff spot for Charlie Blackmon. And a curtain call. They show on the video board that he set the major league record for most runs batted in by a leadoff hitter. That's in baseball history. 5-0 Rockies. DJ LeMahieu taking ball one.
100 coming into that at bat, but 99 from the leadoff position. That takes him up to 101 in the leadoff position.
Breaks Darren Erstad's record, which was set in 2000.
That's quite an accomplishment in the National League. You think about with the pitcher hitting in the 9-hole.
A ball and 2 strikes on LeMahieu. You mentioned there'd be some scoreboard watching going on for the Rockies this weekend. The Brewers, the team chasing them, the 1-0 lead on St. Louis. Doesn't matter what happens there if the Rockies take care of their own business. Again, their magic number to clinch the second wild card is at 2. LeMahieu hits it foul again. Did you see how the Cardinals, by the way, were eliminated from contention officially? Jed Jerko hit a ball to deep center field, and Leonis Martin of the Cubs went over the wall and robbed them of a home run to end the game and finish off their mathematical hopes.
Wow. That would hurt.
That's a gut punch.
Yeah.
2-2.
And in St. Louis, when the 5 spot of the Rockies goes up, that'll make Milwaukee put their head down and feel like we just got to take care of our own business. You never know in that ballpark what could happen, but that 5 spot on the St. Louis scoreboard with Milwaukee playing there feels like a gut punch to the Brewers.
Bouncing ball to the box into center. Already 5 hits for the Rockies against Ryu, including 3 home runs, and it's stirring up memories of the last time he pitched here when he gave up those 10 runs.
Ryu has really got to bear down here. This can really send you into a little bit of a tailspin. Feeling like you're pitching for a spot on the playoff roster in Colorado. As you take a look at the Carls cam, and Nolan Arenado started out the scoring there with a solo shot, and then the first inning continued to break open.
Reynolds hit a home run of his own to Arenado, Reynolds, and Blackmon already with the long balls. Numbers 37, 37, and 30. It's a little bit low, ball 1. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
That home run in the first for Arenado was his 183rd hit of the year, which is a career high for him now within a year. That's what kind of year he's having.
Seems like he's finally starting to get some national recognition that he deserves. Part of that is the Rockies are relevant late into the season for the first time while he's been up.
Always been admired and esteemed by the league as far as the players and the management, but this time zone, and you're right about the coverage the club gets, seems to tail off around All-Star break.
Yeah, they do that to themselves. They've lost at least 87 games each of the previous 6 years. Arenado's worked the count full in both at-bats against Ryu, who's thrown 61 pitches over 1 2/3. And Walker Buehler, the first man up. Line to center field and a base hit. Line keeps moving. Rockies at the corners with 2 out. So Trevor Story to the plate now. And Rick Honeycutt out for a visit.
Well, I remember Ryu was hit on his pitching forearm in the 3rd inning of his last outing. Came out of that early, of course, and then said he was fine through the throwing program between starts. Wanted to pitch this game, said he felt good enough. Rick Honeycutt and he both felt like it was okay. It could be an excuse, but he would never use it. But his pitches have been slightly up and not quite as sharp as normal. And you're facing a team that is playing for their life in their home ballpark in front of very energetic fans, and the ball carries well here, and especially when that man hits it.
Ryu had been really good. 242 earned run average since the All-Star break. Hadn't given up a home run in September. 3 of them so far in this one. He's due to lead off the 3rd, so at the very least they want to see him get out of this inning. Right at the corners with 2 out. Trevor Story takes ball 1. There's a strike. Off the end of the bat, see if Bellinger has room. Long way to go and won't quite get there. So it's 1-2. "31 pitches in the first. This would be the 35th of the second. Mayhew at third, Arenado at first, and a 1-2 pitch. Story's still leading the league in strikeouts, but they say he's gotten much better as far as plate discipline. Contact percentage has gone way up. That's over the last few weeks, and he's settled back into a prominent role in the lineup, hitting cleanup. On a 2-2.
think this will be Ryu's last inning. I don't think they're going to get Walker Buehler up and down. With the temperature starting to drop here, the end of September, this game started at 59 degrees. It'll probably end up at about 52 by the time we finish. I think they get Walker up, and then all of a sudden just hope Ryu can get out of this inning.
Get Story swinging to finish the inning, and if it is his final batter, it's his only strikeout of the night. Blackman takes him deep, and it's 5-0. Four hard facts of the night. These teams head-to-head this season. 19 meetings when you include the 3 they're about to play this weekend. And the Rockies, if they can win 1 game this weekend, will clinch their first season series win over the Dodgers since 2013.
Been a rough road for the Dodgers against the Rockies and against the Diamondbacks. Ryu's road tonight is over.
As Trace Thompson bats to open this 3rd.
Was a rough one right there for Ryu. Ball up, not only up in the strike zone, but up over the fence.
Now it's Thompson. He's had limited playing time since his call up and roster is expanded. That's a base hit to right. Leadoff opposite field single for Trace Thompson as the Dodgers try to chip away at this 5-0 deficit against Chad Bettis.
Plenty of time in the game and plenty of time in this ballpark.
What do you cut it in half, right, as far as the score?
What's the old Joe Torre saying? Take small bites, fellas. Take small bites.
Treat 5-0 like it's 2.5 to nothing.
Exactly.
Because that pretty much is.
Pretty much is here.
Granderson grounded out his first time. And takes strike 1.
A lot of ballparks you're in scoring position when you step in the batter's box. Here you're in scoring position when you're in the on-deck circle.
Granderson is like maybe getting ready for one of his patented hot streaks. He's hit 3 home runs in his last 9 games. And his hot streaks don't necessarily mean high average. Doesn't necessarily mean he's going to hit 400 over a long stretch. But when he gets in a string of home runs, it can go for a while. Other side of that, which the Dodgers have seen, is that the slumps can go for a while too. He's been working really hard mechanically to try and figure things out. The runner at first and nobody out. A 1-2. Hit off of Bettis and into right field. Thompson heads to third, and the Dodgers have them cornered with nobody out.
What hitters believe and what Turner Ward especially believes is when a hitter starts hitting the ball up the middle or to the opposite field, that is the beginning of hot streaks, even though most of the hits will end up coming to right field for pull hitters that are left-handed. If they're using the middle of the field or the opposite field, they're going to be on the ball longer, they're going to make more contact, and when they hit it hard, it's going to be fair.
Granderson working on similar things that Chase Utley worked on earlier this year. He's not being so rotational. At the corners with nobody out, Corey Seager the batter. And a 5-0 game in the third. And he goes after the first pitch and lines out to short. One away for Turner. That sneaks through for a base hit. Justin Turner has the Dodgers on the board as Thompson scores. RBI single for Turner, and it's 5-1.
Morongo slow-mo cam at Casino Resort and Spa takes a look at Justin Turner finding the 6th hole and getting an RBI. And evening up the hit totals with Charlie Blackmon here in the first game of this final 3 of the batting title race.
And getting Bellinger to the plate in a spot where with one swing, this could be a 1-run game. Two on with one out. Here comes Bettis. Ball 1. Bellinger, the lone strikeout victim of Bettis so far. Took a change up for called strike 3 to open the second. Something Bettis threw the Dodgers a lot of when he saw him in early September. There's one here, and it's 1-1. It's a little bit interesting, though, because in his last outing against San Diego, which was one of his best outings in a while, it was mostly curveball to go along with a fastball.
The one thing that the Rocky organization says that he carries with him all the time, though, is poise. We might see the Stuff waiver.
Pop fly to center. Story's out for out number 2.
You look at his ERA coming into this and think about his comeback. Only his 9th start since, or his 8th start since coming back from cancer. 5.72 ERA. You're like, oh, this is going to be a tough outing for him in a big game for Colorado. But they're like, we love his pulse. We love his veteran presence. And we at least know we're going to get his best.
They'll face Puig with first and second and 2 out. And remember, early on, this Rockies rotation was the youngest in baseball, but 3 rookies and Kyle Freeland, Antonio Senzatella, Jeff Hoffman have all moved out of the rotation into the bullpen and been replaced by much more veteran pieces. Bettis is one of them. Tyler Chatwood had gone to the bullpen. He's now back into the rotation. And then John Gray, who is young himself, but much more experienced than the guys that had been in there. Back from injury, too. Bettis pitches 1-0 and finds the zone at the knees, 1-1.
bet it's his best fastballs at 92 miles an hour. He knows he is only going to be out there when he's effective. So this is one of those outings where you just empty the tank on every pitch.
Big bouncer to the hole at short. Story gets the out at second, and the side is retired. The Dodgers get one, but only one. Middle three in a 5-1 game. Is brought to you by the all-new 2017 Chrysler Pacifica, the new benchmark of minivans, and by Jack in the Box. Come try the new $4.99 Smoky Jack Burger combo, a small fries and a small drink, limited time only. So Hyun-Jin Ryu's night ends after 2 innings, and Walker Buehler, in what could be a continued audition for potential postseason roster spot, comes on for the 3rd.
Well, the thing that's most impressive about Walker, you look at the 6 1/3 innings, but 9 strikeouts. He's got to cut back on his walks. He also's got to cut back on the fact that once he gets an out or two, the tendency the inning kind of unravels, but that's mainly from those walks.
And the first man that'll face is the guy that crushed a grand slam against him at Dodger Stadium a few weeks ago, and Mark Reynolds. And the 2-run home run that Reynolds hit against Ryu in the first, that was his first one since the grand slam against Buehler. Lines and fires, and Reynolds looks at 99 at the knees. One ball, one strike. Pops the mid at 100, but misses by an eyelash. 2-1.
That fastball makes me smile. That's ridiculous.
Throws it again here. 99 this time. Took a little off. 2-2.
It's so much easier to throw the ball hard, high, because you can release the ball and then your arm has more time to stop. So when you release the ball for a low pitch, you've got to almost kind of hold on to it a little bit longer, and there's more pressure on your arm, and you feel like you're going to have less time to stop it. So you're thinking about the last release point plus it's going 100 miles an hour. That is ridiculous talent.
Throws it down here. Reynolds takes it. The count goes full.
With that fastball, I would tell him, do not worry about width. Just worry about the height. You want to throw a low fastball at the knees? Do that. I don't care if it's in or out.
That one's a little bit low, and Reynolds walks to start the inning.
Well, he took it because he couldn't see it.
And just happened to get lucky that it was a little bit low. So a man on for Carlos Gonzalez. The Rockies having scored 3 in the first and 2 in the second. All on home runs off for you. Just barely misses. 1 ball and no strikes.
Let's take a look at this on PitchCast because we're flinching up here in the booth where it is. Okay, it's inside. I think the thing that Walker will start to determine as he gets experience and as he reads hitters in gaining that experience early in count, I think some guys are not going to want to swing until they're forced to. And then there's other guys that say, I don't want him to get to his breaking ball. I'm going to hack early. And I think he's going to have a couple categories in his life with this ability that he's going to be able to put hitters. Like, this guy's going to be patient. I'm going to be able to attack him because he doesn't really want to hit my stuff. And this other guy's going to be super aggressive because he doesn't want me to be able to get to my secondary stuff and he doesn't want to fall behind. And I think there's going to be a very firm line there that he'll be able to see as his career goes on.
But then don't you begin second guessing that the first time that you choose wrong and think it's a guy you can just get one over against and he turns it around?
Well, just getting one over at 98 to 100 miles an hour is completely different than getting it over at like 93, 92, or if you go with something like, I'm going to take some movement off or not make this one move as much because I need to control it for a strike, compared to I'm really going with my big-time sinker, if that's the kind of pitcher you were talking about.
Here comes to the 1-2. Throws the breaking ball. It's hit foul.
And it's not about like, I can really go right down the middle. You're just kind of changing your spray pattern in your mind of what you're going outer half or inner half, compared to I need to go towards the edge, glove half on the plate, half off the plate. So it's about a 6-inch difference of what kind of you're visualizing.
A 1-2 again, and a fastball up gets him. 99 at the letters, and Buehler strikes out Gonzalez.
Just low enough to make them offer, just high enough to make them miss.
Runner at first with 1 gone, and Ian Desmond comes up with the Rockies up 5-1. Buehler trying to produce the first 0 against the Rockies tonight after they got 3 in the first and 2 in the second against Ryu. Strike 1.
Every scouting report that Walker Buehler will read and study, if it says a guy's a good fastball hitter, his reaction is, not my fastball. If it says a guy's a good curveball hitter, you go, not my curveball. he will have the most personal experience scouting report than most pitchers because he's so out of the norm of where big league pitchers pitch. And so a scouting report with him is going to totally be about how does he do against me, not against right-handers that throw 95 and have a breaking ball.
How long does that take to develop, though?
Well, you start, for me and for others, everyone really, you start with the scouting report, you start with the history. But then you have to then apply your personal experience, and that's what the club and the front office will build on also. There's the overall, and then there's the individual matchups.
Fires another 0-2 to Desmond. And doesn't miss by much. Put it off that it's 1-2.
I just love watching these on PitchCast because he's making some excellent pitches that are just missing.
Got a tight zone tonight from Lance Barksdale. Soft contact here. Could be a tough play. Buehler throws to get it.
A lot running through your mind on that play. First of all, is Yasmani going to get it or am I going to get it? Then you get that decision, and then the footwork to get this ball to first base, and then the runner ends up in your peripheral vision. Does a good job doing everything right.
They put Jonathan Lucroy on intentionally and bring up Chad Bettis, the pitcher. Successful sacrifice his first time. Be up there swinging away here against that heat, which is outside for ball one.
Much better rhythm on that pitch. That first pitch fastball to Bettis was his worst misfire of the whole inning. Missed by that much to a pitcher on a first pitch. Stay within your rhythm, throw it 98 down by his knees.
99 up by the chest, 1-2.
Or anywhere close.
Yeah.
Just make it look like a strike.
That one's in there for strike three, and Walker Buehler with a scoreless third into the middle innings in Denver. All Rockies so far.
Another player today, Tim Locastro, had his contract purchased today, the infielder, outfielder between Tulsa and Oklahoma City in 127 different games, guys. A 308 average, but more importantly, he had 34 stolen bases. Dave Roberts said that he actually is in the conversation for that postseason roster. If, in fact, he does make it, he will be used as what's known as a burner, of course. Dave Roberts said that he wasn't necessarily going to get any at-bats, but if he got in there, it would be for his legs and for his speed. The corresponding move, Okoye Dixon was placed on the 60-day DL. He has a sublexed left shoulder. Apparently, it's been bothering him for about 3 years' time now. He is set to have surgery in the off-season and will hopefully be ready for spring training.
Okay, Alana. Dave Roberts knows a little something about being a pinch runner in the postseason. Of course, his famous steal in the 2004 American League Championship Series with his Red Sox down 3-0 against the Yankees. Helped force extra innings in Game 4. They won that game, won the series, and went on to win the first World Championship in almost a century. Andre Ethier takes ball 1 from Chad Bettis. That's a strike, 1-1. Down the left field line, it fades foul.
Andre Ethier continuing to put impressive at bat after impressive at bat on top of each other. Walked in his first at bat. Count was built to 3-0, went to 3-1, got his walk, and right there, that piece of hitting, even though it was foul, looked like he is locked in.
Off of the hands here, and at first Reynolds. Ethier the first out of the 4th. Well, Chad Bettis, last November, he was at dinner celebrating his first wedding anniversary. And he got a call from his doctor telling him that they found cancer in the latest test that they did. Days later, underwent surgery and removed the cancer. They thought that they'd done so successfully. The follow-up test about a month later said that he was cancer-free. Drops in strike 1 on Grandal. And so he goes about getting ready for the season, feeling really excited about the year. He had just pitched a full Major League season for the first time. And in spring training, just another routine test. Goes back in to make sure all of his numbers are right and that he's still trending in the right direction. Well, that time it showed that the cancer had spread. And so they removed it from the spot, but it had spread to his lymph nodes. And so soon after that, he had to shut it down as far as the preparation for the season. And for the next 9 weeks, underwent a grueling regimen of chemotherapy. 9 weeks of chemo when he thought it'd be the first 9 weeks really of his season. In a season the Rockies were really fired up about for him. He undergoes the treatment. He was declared cancer-free. Spent a month getting his arm in shape. And that was on a Major League mound in mid-August. He gets Grandal swinging for the second out. In that first start back, 7 shutout innings against Atlanta.
It's an emotional day no matter what. And then all of a sudden to do that with Atlanta. Just to be back on a big league mound and to know that you're healthy enough to do what you love.
Retires the first 2, now faces Logan Forsythe, who looks at ball 1. He said he went into that day trying not to have any expectations for it. He just wanted to live in the moment. And what a moment it wound up being for him. And the next start he was really good as well. Just 3 runs over 7 innings, but has struggled since. His last 6 games since those first 2, his ERA is near 8. Two and 1 on Forsythe. Pedro Baez getting ready. Ground ball is short. Easy play for Trevor Story. The Dodgers down quietly in the fourth. To the bottom half we go. Game one of this weekend series with the Rockies in front 5-1.
The regular season and into the postseason is with MLB.com at bat, the #1 app for live baseball. Enjoy game day, live game video highlights, radio broadcasts, StatCast, news, and more. Download MLB.com at bat today.
And how about Dave Roberts leaving Walker Buehler in? He worked the scoreless third inning and now wants to see him face the top of this Rockies lineup.
I do too.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, in a 5-1 game that essentially for the Dodgers the outcome doesn't matter, let's learn something. 1 ball and no strikes on Charlie Blackmon. So the first man that he faces at the top of the lineup is a guy that is likely on his way to a National League batting title. Buehler's 1-0. Hit in the air to deep center. Granderson on the move, still going, calls off Ethier for the first out.
Walker Buehler's fastball took the sting out of Charlie Blackmon's bat. It's almost like he knocked it out of his hands because the ball, I think, was near the end of the barrel. Made it kind of vibrate in Charlie's hand and turned that into a routine fly ball.
So Blackmon's 1 for 3 today, and here's DJ LeMahieu, who's 1 for 2. Couple old SEC guys going at it. Vanderbilt against LSU here. LeMahieu, 28 years old. He's in his 7th big league year now. 5th one where he's been the everyday second baseman of the Rockies. On this 0-1 pitch, he takes it inside, ball 1. At 6 feet 4 inches, he's the tallest full-time second baseman in the history of baseball. Jose Altuve, he is not. 10 inches taller. Another example of the beauty of this sport. Same position, a foot difference.
Judge against Altuve and the MVP voting on the other side of the coin. League.
2-2.
What's Judge? 6'7", 6'8", 285.
He's 6'7", and Altuve's 5'6". Just a bit taller. Have you studied it enough to have an opinion on who should win between Judge and Altuve?
I have not, but I will have that ready probably for Sunday.
All right. Looking forward to it.
Get your votes in.
Fielder's 2-2. He fights off 99 to stay alive.
Also on Sunday, we're going to review some of the past storylines from the year and some of the future possible storylines. And I think one of our topics was X factors. Might be one on the mound.
Yeah, storylines of the year.
Yeah.
Is what we're going to center Sunday around. Oh, breaks it off for strike 3. 2 gone.
Not my curveball. Not my curveball in relationship to my fastball.
Well, the other thing that he has going to that point, yes, his stuff is better than the average guy breaking in. But I think with that stuff comes the confidence to think the way you're talking about.
I think he definitely has the confidence. He just needs the experience on how to use this exceptional stuff.
Arenado able to fight a breaking ball into center. And a 2-out single.
Here's another breaking ball, just hung up there a little bit, but Arenado jammed himself. Fisted it out there to center.
3 for 3 tonight.
He's pretty good.
Yep. Groundbreaking stuff, Hershiser.
Thank you.
I mean, you see a team 19 times a year, you're going to come up with stuff like that.
Yep.
Yeah. Here's Trevor's story. Power against power with 2 gone. Instead, he breaks off a breaking pitch that misses low. Story getting hot at the right time for the Rockies. This month of September, he's hit 5 home runs. He's knocked in 20. And you look up, and what has been a disappointing follow-up season to his big rookie year, there's still some pretty impressive numbers in there. 23 home runs, 80 driven in. Fielder brings him a 2-0. Check swing foul, strike 1. Can't be comfy facing him.
I think throughout his career with this stuff, he's always going to have a hitter's full attention. You cannot relax when somebody is throwing this hard and can spin the ball this good. I mean, this is like hitting off of Chapman.
Right-handed version of.
Yeah. But actually, really better stuff than Chapman as far as I think overall command.
Wow, really?
When he gets there. Yeah.
That's quite a proclamation here in his 7th Major League appearance.
Well, the secondary stuff for me, I think, is going to be better than Chapman's. The fastball might be, slightly below as far as velocity, but I think he has the ability to have better location. Definitely has a shorter lever system to be able to hit a tighter range.
Throw down to second, airmails Forsythe. And Arenado heads to third. They're going to send him back to first. Home plate umpire Lance Barksdale calling batter interference. So Lance Barksdale makes the call, and there's a reason that Grandal's throw is up the ladder like this.
Umpire interference, maybe.
Ah. Yep.
Yep. Hit his mask.
And so it's a dead ball.
Yep.
Everybody's still safe. There are no outs called. He'll go back to first, and he'll do it over.
Yasmani exchanged clean there, but right there, boom. Elbow or wrist hits the mask.
The pitch counts, but everything after it, pretend like it never happened. So Arenado back to first, and a 3-2 count on Trevor Story. Struck out DJ LeMahieu. Has a chance at a strikeout at Trevor Story. Walker Buehler showing some electric stuff tonight. A 3-2. Story dumps it back. All right, so you're making a postseason roster. Is he on it based on what you're seeing tonight?
I love him. I love the arm. I love the mystery. People haven't seen him. I love the electric stuff. I think you'll know really quick in any of his outings whether he's got it or not with the nerves.
Story hammers one to right center. Granderson turns and gone. Trevor Story brings Walker Buehler back down to earth with an opposite field 2-run homer.
We've seen this with Walker's outings. The reason his ERA is over 8. The stuff's electric. But every once in a while there is a mistake, and it seems like no one comes off of his fastball because it's close to 100 miles an hour every time. It will get better, and it might get better in a hurry. Don't lose sight of this young man.
Reynolds takes ball 1. I'll blame it on myself for asking you the question of if he was on your postseason roster.
Yeah.
2 pitches before the home run.
We don't believe in that stuff.
I know. I'm wearing it for Walker. 2-0.
I mean, God's honest truth, right before the pitch, I was thinking, you want to make the playoff roster, throw a 3-2 breaking ball right here.
Huh.
I was just thinking in my head, show them that you can do it. And the high fastball was just a great piece of hitting. Get the barrel on something shoulder high and still hit a line drive. It doesn't take a professional scout to see the ability in this young man. It's just channeling it and making a little bit more consistent. A lot of his past is every time he gets in a jam, I can just go back to my fastball and get amateurs and minor league players to swing and miss at it. That's going to be a lesson learned at this level, that that's not always going to be the answer.
There's a 2-strike breaking ball.
He won't have to throw the 3-2 breaking ball or the 3-2 slider or the 3-1 breaking ball very often. But when he throws at a lower percentage than the other guys, it'll be enough. But he will have to throw it sometimes to put it in the hitters' heads.
Throws it again. Count goes full.
I remember in one of his first outings, he was either the first or the second. He smiled the next day during stretching and said, "That's the first 3-1 breaking ball I've ever thrown in my life."
Wow.
So that's the foundation he's working from.
Grounder cracked is short. Backhand Seager. And Reynolds the final out of the 4th inning. Trevor Story hits the 4th Colorado long ball of the night. 7-1 after 4. Dodgers baseball on Sportsnet LA is brought to you by your Southern California Toyota dealers. Toyota's clearance countdown is on. Get huge savings on the last of the 2017 Corollas. Back in Denver, where the Rockies lead the Dodgers 7-1 on the strength of 4 home runs tonight. Jock Peterson to pinch hit in the pitcher's spot. Anderson and Seager to follow in the inning as Bettis delivers strike 1. Peterson at 209 in what has been a really disappointing season for him. Started off so promising, the home run on opening day, the grand slam on opening day. Had some stretches where he looked good, but also had some down stretches, and one of them so bad that it cost him a trip to the minors. Came back up when rosters expanded, but at that point his spot was pretty much gone with Chris Taylor taking over in center. And you know, it'll be a good offseason of work for Jock, trying to get back on track next spring. Bettis brings him a 1-2. He digs out a ground ball to first, and Reynolds will feed on to Bettis for out number 1.
Here's your chance to have a slice of blue heaven. Join the 2018 Dodger family by signing up now for the season seat or mini plan waitlist. Registered fans will be contacted by a Dodger season ticket representative on a first-come, first-served basis. Visit Dodgers.com/season tickets or call 866-DODGERS today. Child's play, Davis.
What happened? Here's Granderson.
Looked like you were waving a runner around third right there.
You were able to read the monitor right through it. Good eyes you got.
It doesn't matter when they're constantly out of focus that all of a sudden it's just sporadically out of focus.
Yeah, 1-1. Your eyes not good?
Well, they're not bad. They get a little dry here in Colorado, so
yeah,
you got to get a good blink in every once in a while.
Yeah, I love a good blink.
Okay.
Got to drink a lot of water here. Cramp up very easily.
Yeah. Does coffee count?
That does the opposite, Hershiser.
Yep, that's why I got dry eyes.
Roller to second. And Mayhew throws Granderson out. It's National Coffee Day today, actually.
Yeah.
Did you celebrate accordingly?
I don't know what is celebrating accordingly. I made a cup of coffee in my hotel room today to kind of get pumped up for the day when I was studying. I've had 2 cups here tonight.
Yeah.
And I'll probably be up till 4 in the morning because of it.
You're doing it right. National Coffee Day goes deep into the night. Except it's over at midnight, technically. Strike 1 on Seager.
That should be like National Coffee Week.
That would be a good week. Our producer, Mike Levy, might not make it through the week.
He has National Coffee life.
Yes, he does.
He has a cup of coffee in his hand every time you see him. I don't even know how he hugs his kids and his wife.
Well, they just get coffee dumped on them frequently.
Their whole backs are brown. Every piece of clothing they have has coffee on the back.
1-2 on Seager.
They only vacation to places where they grow coffee beans.
Those aren't some bad vacations, though.
Yeah. Costa Rica.
Yeah, they grow coffee there.
Guatemala.
That's another. Seager down on strikes. That's 8 in a row retired by Chad Bettis. Thank God, commercial.
Dodgers go behind the scenes as the Dodgers clinch their 5th consecutive NL West championship, plus take an inside look at Tommy Lasorda's 90th birthday celebration at Chavez Ravine, of course. Don't miss Backstage Dodgers right after the postgame show on Sportsnet LA.
Tony Cingrani has gone from a guy that was kind of looked at as a project for the Dodgers to somebody who very well could be on that postseason roster.
He and Tony Watson started out a little bit with a couple of bumps, but since then, both of them from the left side have been exceptional. ERA is just a tick over 1 if I remember what I've read lately, and have a lot of confidence in both these guys that were acquired at the deadline and bringing them into any situation.
Yes, and Cingrani, you mentioned the bump in the road early. He gave up 3 runs in his first outing at Atlanta. But since then has pitched in 19 games, and in 17 of them has put up zeros. Guy they say is really hard to pick up. Some guys, the natural delivery just makes it really hard to see the ball, especially on left-handed hitters like Carlos Gonzalez, who takes ball 1. What is it about Cingrani, from your perspective, that makes him hard to see? Because it's different for each guy.
Yeah, he goes long arm to short arm, so you get the extension out of his glove, but then all of a sudden, almost looks like he's throwing it out of his shoulder. You know, hitting so much, of course, trying to pick up the baseball. That's the deception part. But then also it's the rhythm of your mechanics and then how the ball comes out of your hand. And I think the rhythm is different than the way the ball comes out. And I think the ball looks like it almost like explodes on the hitter. It's kind of free and easy and smooth, and then all of a sudden the ball's just kind of jumping at you. See how slow the lower half of the body through the chest kind of moves, and then all of a sudden the arm whips through late.
Off of Cingrani in the left. Gonzalez hustling out of the box will get into second.
Cargo 1 for 3 tonight because of this hit off the leg, but he's having some kind of September. Coming in tonight hitting .371, 11 doubles, 5 home runs. Putting a finish on what possibly could be the end of a Rocky career. And that's not a Rocky career, that is a Colorado Rocky
a pretty smooth career as a
Yeah,
Rocky.
yeah.
Yeah, I know what you meant, though. Seems like he's been here forever. 10th Major League season overall, 9th one here in Colorado. He and Desmond takes a strike. She debuted with Oakland, Carlos Gonzalez. He's traded here for Matt Holliday before the 2009 season. Originally a Diamondbacks farmhand. Ball and a strike on Desmond. See Tony doing some extra work to hop around, look like get warm. This may be the coolest temperature the Dodgers have played in since the spring. It's mid-50s now. Get used to it, right?
If you're going to play October baseball, you need to know how to play in the chilly weather and sometimes misty rain. And with the Indians doing as well as they could, maybe even light snow flurries. Or Boston.
What if the Twins make it?
Wow.
Outdoor, because
I know
the
they
previous
should have
trips
put
were
a
in.
dome on that place.
Yeah.
It's a small enough facility too, you know, 1 square block there that they've really kind of piled it in there.
Solidly struck to second, but Forsythe makes the catch. Maybe they get a roof put on for the postseason. Let's get a big old tarp.
A big tent.
Yeah. Really big version of like a carnival tent. Here's Lucroy with a man at second and 1 out. The Rockies in front 7-1.
That could be a real predicament of all of a sudden, like a early blizzard goes through Minnesota. They've got a couple of home games coming up.
Yeah. Long way to go before you got to worry about the Twins in the World Series. They'll have to win the wild card game, likely in New York. And then obviously the ALDS probably coming against Cleveland if they were to get there before the American League Championship Series. Strike one on Lucroy.
We played in freezing rain in New York in '88. The reason that we lost Kirk Gibson with both the hamstring pulls, and he ended up with the one home run, one at bat in the World Series. Mike Scioscia also ended up with leg issues.
What kind of issues does pitching in cold weather present?
Gripping the baseball. It leads to using a non-foreign substance. Something that's got to be sticky with your saliva or sweat come down, maybe some bubble gum residue, anything that you can to get a grip on the ball. Because with your frozen hand and a rock hard baseball, I used to pour a cup of water over my head right before I go out, even in freezing temperatures, so the water would drip down around my neck through my hair and I could just go to my neck. Now the guys are allowed to go to their mouth to speed up the game. You don't have to walk off the mound to go to your mouth to make sure you wipe it off to get back on the pitcher's plate. Now you can actually go to your mouth as long as you kind of fake wipe it off, and that's going to help the guys grip the ball. Just a little bit of moisture is fantastic, but you get dry hands, forget it.
Water would help your grip?
Yeah, because your hands are dry and slippery, so you put a little water on there, and with the rosin on there, maybe a little dirt, you can get a little stickum working. I used to chew a piece of bubble gum every once in a while and just kind of spit on my hands just to get the stickum on my hands from the bubble gum. Also been known to hit without batting gloves on, so the pine tar from the bat gets on your hands.
Nice. When you said you poured water over your head, I was hoping that you were going to say, so then your hair gel would run, so I could make fun of you for wearing hair gel under your hat.
I definitely, hair gel when wet is sticky, and there are certain hair gels that are better than others. I wasn't going to go there, but since you did, yeah, I had hair gel in my hair too.
For that purpose, or because you want to look good?
No. Definitely for that purpose.
What kind?
Well, all of these substances were made in America. I made sure of that first before I applied them.
Okay.
So they weren't foreign substances.
Oh, right. They couldn't throw you out then.
No, they couldn't throw you out then, because if they said anything else, oh, what's that? I'm like, well, it's American-made bubble gum. Oh, what's that? That's American-made hair gel.
That'd be a fun argument to be a fly on the wall for.
But if you don't, if the whole key is the hitters don't mind, they just don't want the ball to do something different. They're glad you can grip it.
No swing, 2-2. All keeps it in the vicinity. Gonzalez hangs on at second. So what was your go-to brand to help with your grip?
Oh man, now you're taking me back, because I don't use the same brand anymore. I don't use hair gel now. I can't even remember. I know it was somewhere between a paste and a liquid, and it was a little thicker, kind of like a jelly. But just pouring the water over your head, having a little bubblegum residue or spit on your hands, the rosin, Everybody comes up with their own formula because there's different levels of kind of tackiness that you want or need. And you don't want it so tacky that you can't actually let the ball release in a way that is comfortable, and you don't want it slippery where you're not getting any help. You want something right in between, as we watch Tony Cingrani out there licking his fingers to get some moisture here at the Mile High. If he was chewing on a piece of gum right now, sugar gum, and licking his hands, definitely his hands are going to be sticky. You can try that at home, it won't hurt you.
Lucroy takes inside. It's a 1-out walk.
What I didn't like about the sugar gum, though, to continually have in your mouth, is I felt like it was going to give me a sugar low. Like my energy levels would start to change on the mound. So I tried to find something like the hair gel or something else in the cup of water over my head to actually find some way of not putting some sugar into my system while I'm pitching.
And sugar-free gum not good for gripping a baseball?
No, because sugar-free gum didn't get sticky. I think we better change the subject.
You giving away too many secrets?
No. That's starting to feel boring to me.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely boring to the people at home if it's feeling boring to us. 2 on, 1 out. The pitcher, Chad Bettis, who's limited the Dodgers to 1 run through 5 innings, will hit for himself in a sacrifice situation. Corners crash, and he takes ball 1. Rockies tonight 3 in the first and 2 in the second against Ryu, then 2 in the fourth against Walker Buehler. All 7 runs off homers so far. One ball, 1 strike.
The 4 days off for the Dodgers, they're going to go over these fundamentals. They're going to go over bunt plays. They're going to go over pickoffs. But this is live action practice of what could be a really key part of a playoff game. They are crashing Bellinger in a big way. Being a left-handed thrower, he could cover anything from a bunt on the first base side to back to the pitcher and even all the way across the third. And Justin Turner can read the bunt and read Cody. Stay there and they could get the lead runner.
Instead it's gone full on Bettis.
This is the time to really exercise your baseball clock and start to understand how far can you push the envelope as far as the defense against the bunt in a key situation.
Winds up getting it in play. Grandal goes to third. Turner to first, not in time, but they get the lead run. They're going to take a look at this. See if Turner was indeed on the bag.
It's like a tag play of a runner, but you're going to take the look at the foot of Justin Turner when the ball hits his glove. It's going to be very close. Rockies, their bench anticipating what they want, and they're going to take a look at it. Slow motion. Is there enough to overturn it?
Yeah, I think he's safe.
The things that years ago you could do to cheat around second base to not get hit, to cheat around third base like this on a bunt play to try and get the double play from third to first. But now with instant replay, Everything from the tag to a runner staying on the base if they overrun a base to a fielder getting a force play. It was right to the very edge, like a receiver being in or out of bounds in a football game.
Speaking of which, big one for USC tonight.
It's at about a 8:30 start our time, 7:30 back at home in LA.
Yes. Yep. And he is safe. Bases are loaded. The 3-0 Trojans, 3-0 Washington State tonight up in Pullman. Well, Charlie Blackmon coming to the plate. We take a look at the top tier play of the game, brought to you by Arco. One of the 4 home runs they've hit was his 2-run shot in the second.
Off-speed pitch that stayed on the inner half. Charlie Blackmon, a very sweet swing, keeping that ball fair and becoming the all-time RBI leader out of the leadoff spot.
I said 3-0 against 3-0, 4-0 against 4-0. For whatever that's worth. Here's Blackmon. And it gets by Grandal. Here comes Gonzalez. The Rockies lead at 8-1.
Yasmani will tell you he should have had this one. Gets a piece of Lance Barksdale, the umpire, on his right hand. And barely got a piece of Yasmani's glove. Barksdale having to be looked at from the Rockies trainer.
Not sure what's going on here. Taking a look at the umpire's hand. Mentioning getting a piece of Barksdale. Yeah.
Taping it to keep the swelling down. Looks like it.
Yeah. Putting a little hair gel on it to help him grip his clicker.
All right. Wow, it looks like a small cast.
Well done. So the veteran Barksdale back to work. 2nd and 3rd and 1 out. Rockies trying to add on to this 8-1 lead. Trying to drop their magic number for a postseason spot to 1. With 2 days left in the season after tonight. Milwaukee, by the way, leads St. Louis 4-1, so they're doing their side of things. Rockies control their own destiny, though. They win this series. It doesn't matter what Milwaukee does. 2 balls, no strikes. 3-1. Well, Blackmon so far 1 for 3. Justin Turner only has 2 ABs, 1 for 2. So for the time being, Turner has gained 1 point. And the chase for the National League batting title. Blackmon's at 328. Turner's at 322. Bounced over Bellinger into right. Lucroy in to score, and it's 9-1.
Infield drawn in, raises a hitter's average well over 100 points. Cody Bellinger can leap as good as any first baseman, and that is just barely off his glove.
That's going to do it for Cingrani. Still just 1 out. Rockies at the corners, and Pedro Baez coming in. And Pedro Baez comes on, trying to build off back-to-back scoreless outings.
His last one was on Monday. Had plenty of rest coming into this one. That one inning, 3 strikeouts. Pedro trying to build his resume back so that the Dodgers have confidence in him, but more importantly, that he has confidence in himself. Learning more right now to not default to his fastball, use his off-speed stuff, that slider and that changeup a little bit more, keeping the hitters off balance.
And the Dodgers continuing to give Baez opportunities, desperately hoping that he can show that his ability to return to his form from the first half, where there were times where he was dominant. A couple more opportunities. You figure 2 this weekend for Baez to prove that he belongs on that postseason roster. Trying to overcome what has been a rough last month of this regular season. Ball 1. Fly ball to right field. This will be playable for Yasiel Puig. He's got it. And the runners hang on in a 9-1 game. 2 out. Good test here for Baez with Arenado due up. Ball, no strikes. Seemed like a long time ago that Nolan Arenado was struggling mightily during the World Baseball Classic. He struggled to get any traction on the championship Team USA. Still said, though, it was one of the best experiences he's ever had playing baseball. He dreamt of playing for his country. It goes back to when he was a teenager. He got cut from the U.S. junior team. One of the big things he took away from it was picking the brains of all his teammates and knowing that they struggled too. He said it was a relief to know that the best in the game go through it. He turns this one around, but he's out in front. And it's 1-1.
He has excited this city and this crowd for a long time now. Boy, there's barely an empty seat in the house. Rocky fever is going on. They are hoping to get to the postseason.
Another pop-up. Bellinger near the dugout as it measured up. And Baez able to strand a couple. The Rockies in front 9-1 as we go to the 6th.
The official team stores at Dodger Stadium. Choose from the largest selection of authentic postseason caps and t-shirts. Dodger Stadium team stores are open every day, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the top of the park. And on game days, the stores open 2 hours prior to first pitch and, of course, are open through the end of the game.
Chad Bettis has had a hard time getting deep into games this year, but here he is into the 6th, having given up just 1 run. Came in the 3rd inning and a base hit from Justin Turner, who's set to lead off this 6th. A third inning hit for Turner extended his on-base streak, by the way, to 17 games quietly, back to early this month. Obviously with a hand injury and the illness that he went through in the middle of that stretch. Doesn't like the call. On a night where the zone has been tight pretty much the whole way. Turner shares that with Lance Barksdale.
What's PitchCast say?
Might have bought that one with the argument.
You might have. Can't give them both, the upper and the lower part of the strike zone. But I guess if it's both in the strike zone.
That, yeah. 2-2. Ground ball is short. Trevor Story. Turner's the first out.
This is the game the Dodgers did not want. The starting pitcher exits early. The bullpen struggles. Rockies feel like they get on a roll. The Dodgers feel like they have to respond to something tomorrow. Still have some innings here to respond. But at the first blush and first taste of this one is not good.
Is there anything too, and obviously still 2 games to be played in this series, but can concerns develop if the Rockies feel really good about themselves here and then they wind up being the team that you face in the DS? Just the mental side of that?
Yeah, I think you try and accomplish everything you can, including the emotions of being on a roll, beating the right opponents and putting them behind the 8 ball mentally, or at least having to deal with the questions when the media comes around. Because that's definitely a force in the playoffs that can be some positive momentum of doing positive interviews and walking around, not having to kind of duck people or not, look them in the eye and say hi and have a smile on your face like everything's good. It's a nice momentum to have.
Bettis strikes out Bellinger, 2 away in the 6th.
It also can build a mentality of us against the world too. If you're really going up against somebody you're not supposed to beat or haven't beat in a while, all of a sudden being the underdog, that spirit can feel pretty good. Can lock you in also.
Now the big one you'd figure from a psychological perspective for the Rockies would be tomorrow, if they could find a way to beat Clayton Kershaw, who they'll face if they get through the wild card game on Friday night in Game 1. 2-0 on Puig.
It's been announced that Clayton will have an abbreviated outing, but I'm hoping for one that he goes at least 5 and can get a W and hopefully lock up the Cy Young. Keep the ERA down there, leading the league. Get the 19th win. And really put him over the top in the voters' eyes to win another Cy Young.
Doesn't it seem like he should be the favorite right now?
Yeah, I took a look at it today at a pretty deep level, and unbiased opinion, I think he is the guy right now. You just got to finish it off, that last impression as we talked about with Ryu.
He gets a fly ball to the right field corner. Gonzalez near the sidewall makes the play. That is mowing him down right now. He's retired 11 straight. More than enough offense to cover him. 9-1 to the bottom of the 6th. LA is brought to you by Nissan. Choose Nissan today for great offers on our most exciting lineup ever. Shop ChooseNissan.com. And by Jersey Mike's, a sub above. Pedro Baez for the bottom of the 6th inning with the Rockies in control in this one. Got the final 2 outs last inning and now faces the middle part of the order. Trevor Story to lead things off. One of the 4 Rockies that has homered tonight. His a 2-run shot in the 4th against Walker Buehler. "25 years old out of Irving, Texas." Cutting at the first pitch. Off speed from Baez, strike 1. He was actually a pitcher in high school with a 96-mile-per-hour fastball. A lot of teams talked to him about drafting him as a pitcher. Colorado, though, wanted him as a shortstop. Made him the 3rd shortstop taken as a first rounder in 2011. Some pretty good company in that first round. Francisco Lindor was the 1st shortstop taken. And Javier Baez went 2nd among that position. Then it was Story. 5 years in the minors before his major league debut. And that, of course, was because, number 1, he was progressing through the system. But number 2, Troy Tulowitzki was the shortstop here. And Trevor remembers the night that Story was, or that Tulowitzki was traded. How he found that news out and what it meant for him. A friend texted him a screenshot from Twitter. And he remembers laying in bed reading that screenshot, reading that tweet, thinking, oh my goodness, the path is finally clear. And the next year he made his debut. What a debut it was. 7 home runs in his first 6 major league games. It's this one in the air to deep center where Kike Hernandez is checked in and at the wall, can't get it. Story can burn. He's at 3rd with a triple.
Kike with a pretty good crash into the wall out there in center field. Story just absolutely kills this ball. Kike awkwardly crashing into the wall. Jumping for the ball, feeling for the wall.
And so Rockies offense that had gone through a rough patch through a lot of the month of September, seemingly finding it the last couple of games. Scored 15 in the final game against Miami on Wednesday, following it up with at least 9 here as Reynolds takes ball 1. It's a really good lineup, but it's a really good park to hit in. If you look at OPS plus or runs created plus, any category with a plus by it, which normalizes for ballpark, the Rockies offense by those categories is considered one of the worst, which seems a little bit overdoing the park's effect, because these guys are good no matter where they're at. But again, when you put the park emphasis on it, they're ranked 25th, 26th in runs created and in OPS.
I understand the stat, and I think the stat is legit, but it also has a rhythm of where you were hot and where you were not, also as far as your lineup and who's swinging the bat well. But does seem a little heavy-handed, but
seems like they should be maybe more middle of the pack when you account for the park.
Yeah,
because you don't go Blackmon, LeMahieu, Arenado, Gonzalez in there, Desmond, Lucroy, and be one of the worst. Reynolds breaks his bat on a foul ball. So everybody got out of the way, thankfully.
Nolan Arenado broke one like this earlier in the game, but not quite as big a chunk flew off and not as far. Watch out. Oh,
again.
Incoming. He'll take that back in the locker room and start gluing it back together.
Use it next time up. Two balls, two strikes. It's a high strikeout guy like Reynolds. Baez trying to get himself back into a decent spot in this inning with a leadoff triple from Story. In the infield, even though it's 9-1, plays halfway.
Well, halfway makes him not go on contact, make him get the ball to go through. So turns the routine ground ball with the infield in. You can turn it into an out a little better and shut down the offensive strategy. You don't want to give up that triple if you're Pedro Baez, but you do want to rescue that possible run at third. If you do that in this inning, post a 0. Huge confidence booster for Pedro.
Here's another 2-2. Struck him out. Well, Baez gets Reynolds for the first out of the 6.
The slider looks like a fastball away, breaks a lot. A lot of times with PD's slider, he can make it go sideways or he can make it go down, but he can't do both. That one was a very nice breaking ball.
And now Carlos Gonzalez doubled and scored his last time. Continuing this torrid month of September. Fastball up 1-0. Gonzalez signed out of Venezuela when he was 16 years old. Came to the United States in 2002. And as a lot of times is the case with guys when they sign, you can learn an entire new language when they come over. Gonzalez didn't know any English, but made that a priority right away. Watched a lot of American TV. Eventually, once he learned some of the language, read a lot, and really challenged himself to learn it as quickly as he could. And then a big step along the way, got an American girlfriend. And learned a lot about the language through that. And is often a mentor to the younger Latin players that break in and are still going through some of those challenges. Field plays a little bit tighter with a man at third and 1 out. Baez to Gonzalez with a 1-1 pitch. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
This is where Pedro's got to be thinking about 3 pitches. Got 3 pitches to get a strikeout, and he can make them all look like strikes, ends up balls with his velocity, and he's probably going to get 1 for a swing and a miss. Don't miss in the middle of the plate.
Fades away, strike 3. Got him with a changeup, and after the leadoff triple, he's used back-to-back strikeouts to get on the doorstep of an escape.
Outstanding pitch right here. A slider to the last hitter for the strikeout, and now the changeup. Is that a different Pedro Baez or what? Using his secondary stuff to finish a hitter off.
Now Desmond. Swings away and misses, strike one. Again, Baez using the off-speed stuff, varying it up some.
He's pitching. He's not out there throwing.
Again to get to strike two.
The conventional pattern now is fastball up and in and then breaking ball away. Or fastball up and in, breaking ball low and away for a strike because they think it's a breaking ball and they take it. You lock them up. What pattern will they go to?
Spikes a pitch and it's blocked by Grandal, 1-2.
I can't tell you if it was a changeup or a slider, but it was one of the two secondary pitches. It wasn't a fastball.
91 the giveaway?
Yeah, 91 is the giveaway, and I'm thinking it was a slider. Just he wanted to get on top. I'm not going to hang it. And he just kind of pulled it into the ground.
Back to the fastball here. Desmond takes it. The count evens. Barely get a piece. Well, as much as we've seen him feature that off-speed stuff, and relatively speaking off-speed, but much we've seen him veer from the fastball in a while.
They're having trouble getting on the same page. It used to be because he would default to the fastball, Yasmani or Austin Barnes would be calling the slider or the changeup, and he wouldn't throw it. Now they're having trouble getting on the same page because not sure where he is. He wants to throw the secondary stuff.
Fastball turned around on a line to Hernandez, and the inning ends. And despite the leadoff triple, Baez able to put up a 0. Live pre and post game coverage of the NLDS. The champion Dodgers battle their way back to the World Series, they hope, for the first time since 1988. Postseason edition of Access Sportsnet Dodgers begins next Friday around Game 1 right here on Sportsnet LA. We don't know what time that'll be at yet. We'll find out probably early on in the week. Chad Bettis pitching into the 7th. Been a while since he's done that. Even when he's been good, they've tried to limit his exposure to the order a third time through. But he's gotten better as tonight has gone on, retiring 11 straight. Andre Ethier looks at a strike. One and two. Roller to first and Reynolds to the bag. Now Grandal with one out. Chad Bettis making quite a case if the Rockies are to find their way into the National League Division Series to be part of that rotation, regardless of who they face, but especially in that it'll be against the Dodgers, seeing what he's doing to them tonight.
One and four with a 5.72 coming into the game. Shot of John Gray right there. Will act as their ace, probably pitch in the wild card game if they get there. And looking like after tonight, they're going to be one step closer.
High fly ball to right field that carries pretty well. Gonzalez to the wall and he makes the catch. Everything going the way of the Rockies tonight. 2 out.
Yasmani 1 for 3 because of this catch, but real close. A little lower launch angle, and that ball is out of here, but just enough arc on it to keep it in the park. Nice job jumping up and getting it before it hits the padding.
So Bettis about to go 7 innings for the first time since his first 2 starts back in early August. And we mentioned since then his ERA had been around 8, so he'd not really gotten close. Delivers strike 1 to Logan Forsythe. And if he can get Forsythe, they'll do it by retiring the final 14 Dodgers.
His only other victory this year against the Dodgers. Didn't pitch this well, but he could be 2-0 against them this year.
0-5 against everybody else. It's baffling them. I mean, 3 consecutive nights of 9+ runs, and then against a guy who's struggled mightily, not much doing. One, 2. Forsythe hits it hard, but Mayhew spears it, and the inning is over. 7 strong innings from Bettis tonight. We stretch in Denver. By BMW. See a Southern California BMW Center today for exceptional offers, or visit SoCalBMW.com. And by Big O Tires. For tires, service, and straight talk, go to Big O Tires, the team you trust. Chad Bettis tonight, making his case to be part of the postseason roster for the Rockies. 1 run over 7 innings. And he said that he's never had more fun pitching than he has been having lately, with a new perspective gained from battling cancer, beating it twice. So the Rockies will move into the bullpen with the lead firmly intact. Ross Stripling comes out.
Ross getting some exercise, but more than that, really wanting to impress. He's had some really good strings this year, and he's had some rough patches.
One of them recently is most likely put him on the outside looking in when it comes to the postseason roster. Jonathan Lucroy to lead off the 7th for the Rockies. That's strike 1, and here's Alana.
Guys, Ross Stripling on in relief here absolutely squashes any thought that he might actually start that game on Sunday. Dave Roberts said that Ross Stripling will not be the starter on Sunday, still maintaining it will be a bullpen game. Brandon McCarthy a likely option to at least start it.
Okay, 1 ball, 1 strike. And McCarthy, one of the guys on the fringe, at least trying to battle his way into the playoff roster discussion. Sounds like he's going to get an opportunity, one last opportunity, to show what he's got on Sunday with that new delivery that Rick Honeycutt has helped him work on. Tough decisions coming, and there will be a few that won't be made until late Wednesday night when the Dodgers know officially who they're playing, whether it's the Diamondbacks or the Rockies or even the Brewers. Ground ball to the hole at short. This will test Seager's arm, and it looks strong there, getting Lucroy. Maybe as strong as we've seen it look in a few weeks.
Really good footwork that he has developed over the course of this year. Chris Woodward has done an amazing job with him. Very long legs, covers a lot of ground, but has to take little shorter strides at times to get everything under control so that he has the balance and ability to get the ball to first in a hurry. Did it right there.
Gerardo Parra to pinch hit in a 9-1 game in the 7th. By the way, it was TBD for the Rockies on Sunday. They've announced that it'll be Tyler Anderson. John Gray's spot in the rotation, but they'll save him for the wild card game on Wednesday. So German Marquez tomorrow, then Tyler Anderson in the finale. Parra rips a ground ball that Bellinger stabs and takes to the bag for the 2nd out. Here's Blackman, who's 2 for 4. And the average up to 329. It is probably going to take an offer from Blackman the rest of the way and a hot streak from Turner over the final 2.5 days of this season to flip the script on the batting title. No small feat, though, to hit 320 or so and finish 2nd if that's where Turner winds up. Fly the other way. Granderson's over there. Started the game in center, but moved to left when Hernandez checked in. Scoreless inning of relief for Ross Stripling, and we move to the 8th.
Register today for the opportunity to purchase extremely limited single game tickets to the potential 2017 World Series games at Dodger Stadium. Fans, you'll be randomly selected from a list of registrants. Registrants?
Yeah.
Get on that list of registrants. Visit Dodgers.com/postseason.
I know what you meant.
I hope everybody else did.
We got there. Carlos Estevez comes on. Been much better lately, back and forth between the majors and the minors through the middle part of the summer, but in his last 6 outings, nothing against him. It's a pinch hitter to start the inning, Austin Barnes. Then Granderson, then Seager.
Quite a year for Austin Barnes. First of all, making the team out of spring training. Second of all, getting consistent playing time in a backup role. Then the production comes. Then the consistency stays. And he is now an integral part of this team, whether it is a bat off the bench like in this role right here, or as a starter that might get the majority of the playing time when comes playoffs.
Well, you can bet that if it's the Diamondbacks, he'll start game 1 catching Clayton Kershaw, because the Diamondbacks figure to throw Robbie Ray, who's a left-handed pitcher. Yeah, the argument can be made that he deserves starting consideration at least against right-handed pitchers. He's one of the best right-handed hitters in baseball against right-handed pitchers. Although Yasmani Grandal lately has started to make an argument to have his fair share of time too. Barnes down at 99 for Marquez, 1 out. I said Marquez, Estevez. Here's Granderson back at the top. Curtis Granderson was a 3rd-round pick of the Detroit Tigers out of Illinois, Chicago. He was a fairly high draft pick. He said truthfully he didn't think that being a major leaguer was that much of a possibility until it actually happened. Till then, he was just trying to stick around as long as he could. He says, hoped that they didn't release him. Saw how much talent there was around him. Knew that he didn't come from a big powerhouse program. Again, even though he was a third rounder, that should have told him what they thought about him. Curtis always very humble. So until the Tigers called him up, that he thought, maybe I am a big leaguer. And now he's in his 14th season of what has been a fantastic career.
Never been a question that he was a big league person.
It's a high line drive to right, but Gonzalez will catch it. 2 gone in the 8th. Dodgers looking for their first base runner since the 3rd inning. Corey Seager, who's homered in back-to-back games prior to tonight, comes up 0 for 3 tonight.
Jonathan McCroy, the catcher tonight for the Rockies, one of the veteran presence on this team and one of the more verbal guys. When the Rockies were going through their tough time, he came up with a saying in the locker room that made its way to the public's eye. And he said, just flush it. Take these losses and whatever happened today and just flush it and move on to tomorrow. And that's pretty much what the Dodgers have had to do at different times. And if this night continues the way it is, they're going to have to take Jonathan's advice and just flush this one out and go get him tomorrow with the big fella.
4-pitch walk for Seager, and there is the first base runner since the early innings. It's a good guy to have going when you need to flush it.
We're looking for a 10 for 10 for the rest of the series from Justin Turner and 0 for 8 for Charlie Blackmon.
Is that the math that would do it?
I'm just guessing.
Oh, okay.
0 for 8 probably lower Charlie about 6 points, and Justin probably go up about 8.
As Turner bats, you saw at first base a new face. It's Tim Locastro making his major league debut as a pinch runner here. Had a great season. Split between AA Tulsa, AAA Oklahoma City. Hit around 400 in a month at AAA, but no matter where he's been a really good base stealer. That's how they look at him here in the potential postseason roster.
With a 9-1 lead by the Rockies, though, they play Mark Reynolds way behind him, so it's not culturally correct to steal right here, and it wouldn't prove anything. But what it does do is getting him out there, get the big league nerves out of the way, get used to being out there, talking to George Lombard, getting the instructions, get a feel for the big league game.
Turner smacks one into center, base hit. His second of the night. Going punch for punch with Blackmon. Locastro, over the course of 127 games in the minors this year, stole 34 bases. He's only caught 7 times. What's going through his mind right now? He was home in New York working out when he got the call that the Dodgers wanted him to come play for the major league team here for the final weekend and potentially beyond that. A quick mound visit, and while they talk, we go down to Alana.
Not only was he working out near his hometown in near Syracuse, New York, guys, but he was also painting his parents' basement as a September project, not even thinking he would get called up to the big league. So he put down the paintbrush, and here he is on second base.
How about that? Cody Bellinger, 2 on and 2 out. It's an interesting discussion, though. I mean, you carry somebody on the 25-man roster who is exclusively a pinch runner. Could play some defense theoretically, and is a versatile defender, but still, I mean, it would be mostly a pinch runner.
He'll probably play some defense here in the bottom of the 8th.
He's played most of his career at short. A lot of time this season in the outfield, though. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Bellinger.
Right there.
Soft bouncing ball, tough play for Arenado. He got him. He never ceases to amaze. Nolan Arenado. Now we're going to take a look to see if Bellinger beat it out. The fact that it was even close is impressive.
Made more bare hand plays in the infield than any infielder this year. He is very sure-handed down there.
Wow. And he got him.
Sportsnet Dodgers brought to you by your Southern California Nissan dealers. Ned Coletti is texting Jerry Hairston Jr. John Hartung, the only one doing any work as they get ready for our post-game show, and they will have to discuss a rough one here, guys, in the Mile High City.
Okay, Alana. Charlie Culberson in the game at short. And a 9-1 game, bottom of the 8th. Brock Stewart to pitch.
Brock continues to develop as a pitcher up here. He's been great for the team and filling into different roles. Somebody they really have high hopes for as he continues to show that he belongs here in the big leagues.
Two, 3, and 4. DJ LeMahieu looks at a strike. It's outside, 1-1. Who was born in California, born in Visalia, and bounced around when he was growing up. Eventually his family settled in Michigan, and that's now where he makes his off-season home. Leading off the 8th. Fouling another from Stewart. I mentioned Tim LaCastro has played quite a bit of outfield recently, and he is in left for his first major league innings defensively. It's a fly ball to right center. Alex Verdugo playing right. At this stage, it kind of has the personality of a spring training game to it, where there have been changes at just about every spot over the last inning.
There are a lot of changes out there, and I continue to keep score.
Pause not.
I'm recording where the out was for the hitter, but not the particular fielder that is now in that position.
That's fine.
Thank you.
Here's Arenado. 3 for 4 tonight. Takes ball 1. I've got you. If you need anything, look over here. I'm here for you, buddy.
It's going to be on the internet tomorrow. I'm going to have it right at my fingertips.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Internet's got you, too. Internet doesn't like you as much as I do, though, Bulldog.
Oh, you're right about that.
Yeah.
I haven't.
I would love-hate with the internet.
Kind of, depending on Wi-Fi, how the reception is.
Dial-up.
Excuse me. I think that was a reference to my age. Yeah, you remember that? You don't remember that?
I've read books.
Okay.
Listen to audio tapes.
How about the big brick cell phones that were like huge?
Yeah. Like pull the antenna out on them.
Right, like G.I. Joe would have back in the day. Looking like a big radio. My father-in-law still has a flip phone.
Does he just like kind of how that feels, flipping it open and shut?
I don't know. We can't text him. He can barely hear us when we call him. He doesn't even know when it rings. I'm like, why have it? But he just is very comfortable with the flip phone.
Well, I hope that's because the flip phone, the volume's not good on it, and you're not taking shots at your father-in-law's hearing.
No. He has very good hearing.
Okay. Because the phone is bad.
Yeah, I've offered to buy him a new one or get him one for Christmas or birthday. Nope. But a flip phone.
Seguin throws Arenado out. You could buy him a new flip phone. Do they make them?
I think so. I haven't.
But you could still get one.
Yeah.
Get him a Razor. Those are hot.
Then you got to learn all the new buttons and how to work it and all that. It's like getting a new microwave. You got to learn everything's new. I like my microwave, and like it's fine. Push 1, I get 1 minute automatically. Set it for defrost, how many pounds and how many minutes. Get the meat defrosted.
Here's Trevor's story.
Are our mics on?
Still, yeah.
Okay.
Story, a double short of the cycle. Takes low, it's 1-1. Singled in the first inning, homered in the fourth, tripled in the sixth. Inside, 2 balls, 1 strike. So he's really putting together a good stretch since he's kind of altered his swing and his approach, trying to put the ball in play more frequently. Way too much swinging and missing from him over his first 2 years. And 17 cycles in the history of Coors Field. That included Nolan Arenado, remember, earlier this summer, finishing the cycle with a walk-off home run. That's one way to do it. Chase, 3-2. Not about to walk when he's a double short of the cycle.
Not a 9-1 game. He might hit a home run and miss third on purpose.
Bleeder foul. That one stays fair. That might be it.
Pretty much guarantee he wasn't stopping at first if that ball's fair. You think he knows it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he walks. The crowd that's dialed into the fact that he was a double short, not pleased with that free pass issued by Stewart. Actually been 3 cycles in this park this year. Trey Turner did it for Washington. Will Myers did it for San Diego, and then Arenado's that we mentioned. So here's Reynolds. Former Diamondback, potentially going back to the place where he started his career, playing a big game on Wednesday. That'll be John Gray for the Rockies, Zach Greinke for the Diamondbacks. And I know I had brought up, why is there not more conversation, Greinke or Ray? You got to throw Greinke the more I think about it. You know, you're $30 million man. Are you really going to bring in this franchise player and then in a one and done, define your season game, pitch somebody else?
I think you got that exactly right. You know Zach's pulse will be fine and he'll give you his best, even though had some rocky outings here down the stretch. The Diamondbacks are one team that is hoping the Dodgers and Kershaw tomorrow can put these Rockies into a slump, and then bullpen day on Sunday silence these bats so they come into that game on a downturn.
Two and two on Reynolds. Stewart gets Reynolds swinging, and that does it for the Rockies in the 8th. Last tax for the Dodgers coming up. What has been a long night. Double short of the cycle. Trevor Story earns our Lexus Player of the Game with a single, a triple, and a home run. 24th of the season. Scored a few runs, drove in a couple runs. 82 now for him. Part of an onslaught from the Rockies tonight. 9-1 to score as we move along to the 9th inning. On to pitch for the Rockies is Scott Oberg.
Last 13 games been doing well. You see the overall ERA of 5.14, but last 13 games, 12 innings pitched, an ERA of 2.25.
Yeah, they say this latest stretch is the best he's ever pitched. He's been around for a few years with the Rockies. But look at Kike Hernandez to start the inning. Then it's Verdugo. Oberg's first one of the night is low for a ball. It's a sellout tonight officially. 48,385. The Rockies rank 5th in the NL in average attendance. Can you name the top 4?
Well, the Dodgers are number 1.
Yep.
We're just in the NL.
Uh-huh. You don't have to do it in order. Just see if you can come up with the other 3.
Giants.
Uh-huh.
Mets.
Not this year.
Not this year. Well,
that was a dumpster
big
fire.
city. Who else?
St. Louis.
Oh, yeah.
And the Cubs.
And of course the Cubs. I figure I'd just stop once I got one wrong.
Right. Don't bury yourself any deeper of a hole.
No, it wasn't that. I just felt disqualified.
Off of the hands at short. Story. You're already the player of the game, man.
Showing off that arm from when he was a pitcher.
Back in Texas in high school, mid-90s fastball.
Anytime you backhand a ball and you're throwing it back across your body, everything is loaded up. Back leg's got the weight, hips and shoulders, and the gun comes out.
Verdugo's first trip up there tonight. His lone career home run came against the Rockies when they visited Dodger Stadium earlier this month. Here he's got a base hit by third. This would be the Rockies' 5th consecutive win against the Dodgers after they had taken 5 of 6 from Colorado, and will clinch a series win over the Dodgers for the first time in 4 years. So with that in mind, the next couple of days important psychologically for these Dodgers. With one out, here's Farmer. Quickly 0-2. You said during the pregame show today that your favorite memory of the year was Farmer's debut, huh?
It's right up there at the top, if not at the top. Right before we did the hit back to the studio, just kind of chatting about it, and that was the one that popped into my mind. July 30th, 11th inning against the San Francisco Giants, a 3-2 count with 2 guys on, a double down the right field line. Score Seager, score Turner.
This will be a game-ending double play, and the Rockies find themselves 1 win or 1 Brewers loss from clinching a trip to the postseason.
A game that didn't matter a whole lot to the Dodgers, but a performance that might. They're going to try and turn that around tomorrow with the big fella Clayton Kershaw on the mound, get back to their winning ways.
Rockies have beaten the Dodgers 5 in a row with this 9-1 win tonight in front of a sellout crowd. For Orr Hershiser, Alana Rizzo, the rest of our crew, Joe Davis saying so long from Denver. We'll talk to you tomorrow at the same time. For now, stay tuned for Access Sportsnet, brought to you by your Southern California Nissan dealers.